Hey guys, my name is Bonisile, and I'm out here just reflecting on the Arsenal draw against Burnley that just ended a little while ago. What a frustrating game for Arteta and his young players. Very, very frustrating game. We kind of saw Arsenal play games like this earlier in the season when they were trying to find, trying to find their identity and trying to figure themselves out, and they grew into a team that we liked. Um, this game was a bit of a throwback, kind of like the Watford game that we won 1-0, the first Burnley game that we won 1-0. I think there was one other one there where team setback. I think Newcastle, when they frustrated us for about the first half, and then we broke them open with that great Saka goal, and then Martinelli with the overhead pass from Tomiyasu. This game was kind of reminiscent of that one, or those three games actually. Um, can't really blame the players, in my opinion. I'm not gonna sit up here and try to blame the players because I think these boys have given all they can. And yes, we can maybe nitpick here and there, but I think it would be a stretch too far. I think this game is about the players who aren't there. The player. This game was about Xhaka and Partey, who are both available fitness wise, but are not available due to suspension. I think in this game was about those guys. In terms of like what we were missing. I know Arsenal could have done better by either signing a striker or signing more reinforcements. But after a season, a summer window where you've spent that much money already, about seven signings or so, 6 or 7 signings, um, it's kind of hard to fill in all the different positions. You know, I would have liked for Ainsley to stay, not because I think they should have loaned him. Period. I think they should have kept Ainsley for the season, because especially under conditions like this, you need the player. You need the player, but it seems like both the club and Ainsley maybe had come to an agreement in the summer, and you don't want to be a club that goes back on your word, because then agents and different people, in this business, your word is very important. And so we'll talk about signings and reinforcements because I think they are needed. But in terms of like what happened today, the players played in a you know concocted 4-1-4-1, 4-3-3, if you want to call it that. Um, and they gave it their best. Burnley hadn't played for 3 weeks, and they've played 3 games in the last 42 days. Arsenal has played several more games, and a lot of these boys were playing on their last legs, um, as it was the case against Liverpool. They gave it. I think they gave a valiant effort. It just wasn't good enough. It just wasn't good enough to cut Burnley open, and Burnley, I guess we're the one team who we're always gonna not win one of these games, and I hope this is the one and only. We won against them the first time around. We won against Watford. We won against Newcastle, and there's gonna be more games like this at the Emirates, where teams just come and say, "Okay, break us down." Arsenal crossed the ball 31 times and still found nothing. They found no change because Burnley are bigger and taller than us, and we also don't have a much of a box presence. In Lacazette, he usually just vacates the box to begin with, but when he's there, he's shorter than the opposing defenders. So, and the quality of crossing could have been better from Saka, Martinelli, and Kieran Tierney. The quality of crossing could have been better. I will say Sambi Lokonga quietly had himself a decent game in terms of like his distribution and range of passing. Emil Smith Rowe, it was nice to see him get 70 minutes, and missed that boy. We missed that boy in some of the games where he didn't play. And today he was a little bit more himself. And Lacazette should be converting from 6 yards out. I don't care if he needs to use his left foot, or he needs to use his toe poking ability if need be. But I can't believe that he missed from out there, and that happens too many times with Arsenal, and I'm concerned that players are not getting enough chances, and so we remember the few that they miss, right? Like, so we didn't create enough today, but the few chances that we did create, we couldn't capitalize. And this was the problem with Arsenal at the beginning of the season, and then it went away. and now we are finding ourselves back in that territory. So, you know, chances are high leverage positions and situations at the moment. So yeah, frustrating January for Arsenal. It ends with two games Premier League. You know, the Manchester City one, Derby was fortunately postponed, and then this one. So 2 games, 1 point. So yeah, it was a case of basically the players played like they needed a break. You know, the players really played like they needed a break. I tweeted in the beginning that like they looked tired. Very preseason friendly game energy. It kind of built up a little bit. Fans did their bit, but again, it didn't sound like the Emirates was rocking today. And I think the symbiosis between the fans and the team is very very important. So the team was not inspiring, and some of the fans were not inspired. Sometimes the spark is started in the stands, and sometimes the spark is started on the field and onto the stands. Today, there were no sparks, really. Fleeting moments, but everybody tried and gave their best. But all in all, I think this was a game that indicated that Arsenal needed a break on the field, and Burnley managed to stay in the game. Could have maybe even stolen it with Dwight McNeil making better decisions on the other end in those last 5 minutes of stoppage time, 4 or 5 minutes. Um, and this is not a secret. This is not a secret that Arsenal need reinforcement. And this game was another one of those that showed that we need reinforcements. Um, but I don't think Arsenal should go all out to get reinforcements just for the sake of getting bodies in. I think Arsenal should look to hold themselves accountable to the strategy they invested in the summer. I know a lot of fans, including myself, are finding it frustrating that there's no movement. But one of the things that they did well in the summer is that they went for things that were smart. And I think, if they don't think, for example, they want Arthur Melo for 18 months and Juventus wants them to take him on an 18-month loan, then don't take him. Don't take him because you will still have Xhaka and you will still have Partey and then you will still have El Neni, and then just go with the players you have in the midfield. It sucks that this last month has gone the way it has, but on the upside, it's over now. And by the time Arsenal play a Premier League game, they're going to have basically all the players. I mean, fingers crossed there are no injuries. They're going to have all their players back. So I would like to think that you know, a bit of patience needs to be practiced here by definitely those who make decisions, and hopefully by those of us who are the supporters of the club, because there's a lot of trickery, around transfers, and you can see, for example, with the one that most of us would like to see happen is Vlahovic. And many of us haven't even seen him play a lot, but it sounds like it's a good deal because he's different to what we have in that position, and he would give us a little bit, in terms of a presence in the box, and he may give us some of the other things that Lacazette doesn't maybe have in terms of his finishing ability. Um, but to be quite honest, I would much rather at this rate see Lacazette and Aubameyang finish the season if Arteta, Edu can find a way to kiss and make up with Aubameyang. I think they should just try and find a way to kiss and make up with Aubameyang, because it's going to be hard to find a striker in January without getting skinned. And the Vlahovic one, as much as it's exciting, I think his agent and the player don't sound too eager to come to Arsenal. And because of that, I think, Arsenal will have to go. And I know that's what you have to do if you're outside of the Europa League or outside of the Champions League, especially. You kind of have to go above and beyond to convince players to join you. However, this player kind of reminds me of some of the things I've seen with players who are owned by Mino Raiola. Mino Raiola, who represents Pogba, who used to represent Lukaku, and still represents the kid, what's his name, De Ligt. He's that kind, represents Haaland. And a lot of these players always come with a lot of baggage. And And I think if Arsenal are trying to free themselves of that kind of drama, maybe you don't sign Vlahovic, until you can find terms that are workable for you. At this stage, I don't think Vlahovic is the player if it's going to be, you know, sign him at all costs and expensive agent fees. I mean, he's got this guy and his agents are even freezing out the club who owns him right now in terms of like they own the contract rights to him, Fiorentina. They're clueless. They're in the dark about what Vlahovic wants to do. Is that the player that we want to get? Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the talent, definitely the kind of talent that I think Arsenal should be going after. But with these things, there's a lot more because players now are like entities and they're like a whole business. So long story short, I think business needs to be done for sure. But if there's no smart business to be done, don't do anything. Stand packed, work with these boys, let them grow, finish as high as you can, hopefully sixth or fifth, and you go again next year when you can, have a summer again to plan and be strategic and considered in your approach. Um, that's my opinion on the businesses. Final point I'm going to make is the referees. I don't know what it is about English referees and letting it be open season on Arsenal players during games. Even at home, Arsenal don't get the rub of the green when it comes to the whistle. Westwood should have been sent off today. Raphael, I mean, sorry, not Raphael. What's his name? Gabriel got sent off against Manchester City for much less, much less than what that kid did today at the Emirates. I just feel like it's so easy to give sending offs against Arsenal players, whereas the opponent players, it's like, oh yeah, is one of the lads, or Burnley. That's how Burnley play. Like Aaron Lennon didn't even have a yellow card for some of the fouls he committed today. Didn't have a yellow card. Think about that. It's just too much. I've seen, Tomiyasu being stomped on the face. I've seen Granit Xhaka being sent off for much less as well or similar. I've seen, and we have seen, Rodri commit so many fouls in that Manchester City game and not even get a yellow card. It's just too many things that are going against Arsenal when it comes to the whistle. It's almost like they think these boys need to be initiated. Every game is like a fucking hazing when you watch Arsenal play. I really don't understand it, but something needs to be done. And maybe part of the thing that can be done is diversifying the referees. Maybe in a year or two or three, I don't know how long and how you can set it up, but like maybe you have, referees that come from across different countries that referee Premier League games. Because it is an international league anyway, as it is. And right now, all the referees are the same old cats who've been doing the same old things, and it's getting really tired. The fact that it's the same old dudes on rotation, you know, and there's no transparency over their decisions, and they are untouchable. Uh, I think I think something can be done, you know, that's better than what we're seeing in terms of the quality of referees in England. So anyway, I just wanted to say a few things about this game. It's tough luck for the Gunners. I think the boys did what they could, but they just didn't have enough in there. If we're being honest, they didn't have enough legs. They didn't have enough guile. They didn't have enough ingenuity in this game. And fatigue and creativity can go hand in hand sometimes. And there's a lot of players who played. I mean, we played basically with the same starting 11 as we did against Liverpool. And Arteta said five of the players who started against Liverpool hadn't trained and were not ready to play a game. So if you take Tomiyasu out of that equation, because Tomiyasu was injured today, having played that game, that means we still had four players who should not have been playing today. So, this is the end of it. And let's see what Edu and his recruitment team can do for the remainder of the January transfer window, because that's going to be another thing that I think, Arsenal are going to need to see what they can do. But I maintain my position there. Don't do any business if it's somebody trying to skin you. Just work with what you have. Mend relationships, be a better manager in terms of like your man management skills. You know, call back Guendouzi if that's even an option. I don't know, but like do something that's not going to be you paying 50 million pounds and buying an expensive player you don't really see as a key figure going forward. I think that's my position on that. I think we do have midfield players at the club now. There should be four by the time we play another game. Miguel Aziz is still at the club at five if you want to keep him, and just deal with the growing pains because it is a case of growing pains at the moment. We got a lot of young players, and as we saw against Liverpool, there's a lot of potential in this Arsenal team. It so they're developing in front of our eyes. They're learning on the job, and unfortunately, they're not the only ones learning on the job at the club. Like you have Mikel Arteta in his first managerial job too, and I think he's doing good. I think the boys are doing good, but this is part of investing in a long-term project. It sucks, really sucks. I wish there was a way to speed through it, but I don't see it at the moment. I don't see it. I think we're going to have to go through a few more results or at least performances like today. And I think we did go through performances like today, but we just managed to find a way to win in those previous times. So I'm going to stop here. My name is Bonisile, host and producer of the Filinos podcast. I'll be coming back after what has been a holiday hiatus on the pod. So thank you for listening and thanks for checking me out. Appreciate your support. Subscribe if you like the content. Share the content. Interact with me. I like to talk about almost everything Arsenal and football in general. Appreciate you. Cheers.